On March 4, 2025, a man in his late 50s pulled into my shop with a 2023 Toyota Tundra and a quiet kind of panic in his eyes. He was not yelling. He was not arguing. He just slid the paperwork across the counter and said one sentence I will never forget. "They are telling me the engine is locked up at 38,000 miles. Today, I am exposing the 3 Toyota engines you should never buy in 2026. The 4 you should hunt for with both hands. And the one mistake almost every buyer makes that turns a legendary brand into an expensive lesson. That Tundra in my bay was not driven hard. It was not abused. It had clean oil change records, dealer maintenance, and a careful owner. None of that mattered, because the engine under that hood was Toyota's 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6, the V35A FTS, and it had just joined what is now one of the largest engine recalls in modern Toyota history. This is the part most people do not understand about buying a Toyota in 2026. The badge on the grille no longer tells you the whole story. Inside that badge, there are engines that will outlive your grandchildren, and engines that are quietly destroying Toyota's reputation, one bearing at a time. And if you cannot tell the difference, you can spend $50,000 on a truck and still end up with a $30,000 engine swap before it crosses 6 figures on the odometer. So let's begin where most buyers get burned the hardest. The first engine you need to avoid, and the reason that Tundra rolled into my shop, is the V35A FTS, Toyota's 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6. On paper, it looks brilliant. It replaced the bulletproof 5.7-liter V8 in the new Tundra, Sequoia, Land Cruiser 300, Lexus LX 600, and the new GX 550. More torque, better fuel economy, modern engineering. Toyota committed to this engine across its most important flagship vehicles. And then reality hit. In April 2024, Toyota recalled over 102,000 Tundras and Lexus LX models because machining debris from the manufacturing process had been left inside the engines. That debris travels through the oil passages, sticks to the main bearings, and slowly destroys them from the inside out. The symptoms are not subtle: engine knock, power loss, stalling, and in too many cases, complete engine seizure before 40,000 miles. Toyota thought they fixed it. They did not. In November 2025, they expanded the recall by another 126,000 vehicles, this time including the 2024 Lexus GX 550. By early 2026, the campaign covered more than 200,000 vehicles, and the only approved repair under recall is full engine replacement. Think about that for a moment. Toyota is pulling engines out of nearly new trucks because the bottom end is destroying itself from manufacturing contamination. If you are shopping a used 2022, 2023, or 2024 Tundra, Sequoia, LX 600, or GX 550 right now, you are walking into a minefield. Some of those engines have been replaced. Some are waiting in line. Some are running on borrowed time. And the failures keep stacking, with thousands of warranty claims already filed. This is not a sensor problem. This is not corrupted data. This is metal destroying metal because of something Toyota did wrong in the factory. Until Toyota proves the fix sticks long term, this engine belongs at the top of the avoid list. The second engine to walk away from is older, smaller, and far more common than people realize. It is the 2AZFE, the 2.4-liter four-cylinder that powered the Toyota Camry from 2002 to 2011, the RAV4 from 2001 to 2012, the Highlander, the Scion TC, and the Scion XB, all the way to 2015. There are millions of these engines still on the road, and most buyers assume that because it is a Toyota four-cylinder, it must be reliable. That assumption has emptied more wallets than I can count. The 2AZFE has two fatal flaws, and depending on which year you buy, you get one of them, or both. Early versions, roughly 2002 through 2006, suffer from stripped head bolt threads. The block is aluminum, the bolts are steel, and aluminum expands more than steel when it heats up. Every overheating event stretches those threads a little further. Eventually, the threads in the block let go, the head lifts slightly, coolant pushes out the back of the engine, and the whole thing goes terminal. A class action lawsuit forced Toyota to extend the warranty on this issue, but most of those vehicles are now well past coverage. A repair using TimeCert thread inserts can cost $2,000 to $3,000 if you catch it early. Catch it late, and you are buying a used engine. Then came the fix that became the second problem. Starting around 2007, Toyota redesigned the block and lengthened the threads. The head bolt issue largely went away, but the new pistons used low-tension rings to meet fuel economy targets, and the oil return holes behind those rings were too small. Carbon builds up, oil gets stuck in the ring grooves, the rings seize, and the engine starts drinking oil. By 50,000 miles, some of these engines burn a quart every 1,000 miles. By 100,000, some are burning a quart every 500 miles. Toyota issued a technical service bulletin for piston replacement under the ZE7 program, but most owners never knew it existed until the damage was already done. If you are shopping a used Camry, RAV4, or Highlander from this era, you are essentially picking between an engine that may crack its head or an engine that may drink itself dry. Walk away. The next Generation 2 ARFE, the 2.5-liter that replaced it from 2009 onward, fixed almost every one of these issues, and that is the engine you actually want. The third engine you need to think very carefully about is the T24A FTS. This is Toyota's new 2.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder, and it is showing up everywhere. The fourth-generation Tacoma, the Grand Highlander, the Land Cruiser Prado, the new 4Runner, the Lexus NX 350, the RX 350, and the TX 350. It produces up to 278 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque, which is impressive on paper. But here is the uncomfortable truth. This is Toyota stepping further into turbocharging than they ever have before, in vehicles people expect to keep for 20 years, and the long-term data simply does not exist yet. Early reports already point to carbon buildup on intake valves despite the dual injection system, sensitivity to fuel quality, wastegate actuator issues throwing P029A and P003A codes, and concerns about turbo seal coking from oil that has not been cooled down properly before shutdown. Toyota themselves estimate the engine should reach about 170,000 miles before serious problems. That is a fraction of what a 2UZ or a 1GR FE will deliver. I am not saying this engine will fail. I am saying it has not been around long enough to prove it will not. And the same company building it just had to replace 200,000 V35A engines for a manufacturing defect. If you absolutely need a new Toyota with this engine, lease it. Do not buy it expecting 300,000 miles. The data does not support that assumption yet. Now let's flip the entire conversation and talk about the engines that actually justify Toyota's reputation because they still exist. And if you know what to look for, you can buy one tomorrow. The first one is the 22RE. This is the 2.4-liter four-cylinder that powered Toyota pickups, Hiluxes, and first-generation 4Runners from 1982 to 1995. It is the engine that built the legend. A cast-iron block, a simple single overhead cam design, low compression, under-stressed internals, and an electronic fuel injection system that was engineered to keep running even in extreme conditions. The 22RE only makes around 105 to 113 horsepower. It is slow, It is loud, it is not exciting, and it is one of the most unkillable engines ever bolted into a passenger vehicle. Mechanics call it the engine that refuses to die because routine maintenance is all it ever asks for. Owners regularly report 400,000 and 500,000 miles on original internals. If you can find a clean 22RE truck with a body that has not rusted to dust, you are buying transportation that will outlive most modern vehicles by decades. The second engine to actively hunt for is the 1GRFE. This is Toyota's 4.0-liter V6, designed specifically for trucks and SUVs, used in the 4Runner, the Tacoma, the FJ Cruiser, the Land Cruiser Prado, and the Lexus GX470 and GX460. It uses a timing chain instead of a belt, which removes one major long-term maintenance cost. The block is aluminum with cast iron liners, the crankshaft is forged steel, and the entire design prioritizes low-end torque and durability over high RPM performance. Early versions before mid-2006 had some head gasket issues, but Toyota updated the gasket design and the problem essentially disappeared. After that, the 1GRFE became one of the most boring engines in the world, in the best possible way. 400,000-mile 4Runners with original internals are not rare. They are normal. If you want a Toyota truck or SUV you can hand down to your kids, you want a 1GRFE under the hood. The third engine to look for is the 2UZFE, the 4.7-liter V8. This is the engine that, for many mechanics, holds the title of the most reliable Toyota engine ever built. It was installed in the Land Cruiser 100 series, the Lexus LX470, the GX470, the 4Runner, the Sequoia, and the early Tundra. It uses a cast iron block, which gives it real strength under sustained load. Later versions added VVT-Y on the intake side. It is not particularly powerful by modern standards, producing somewhere between 230 and 271 horsepower depending on the year. But the 2EUZFE is over-engineered in a way modern manufacturers no longer attempt. IC Cars high-mileage data lists vehicles with this engine among the most likely to cross 300,000 miles, and many examples reach 500,000 or more with nothing but consistent maintenance. The main complaints are not engine problems. They are about the starter being buried inconveniently in the valley of the engine. That is the level of nitpicking you are doing when the actual long block refuses to fail. If you can find a clean Land Cruiser 100 or LX470, you are buying one of the last truly bulletproof V8s ever mass-produced. The fourth engine, and the one you can still buy in a relatively modern vehicle, is the 2GRFE and its updated direct injection cousin, the 2GRFKS. This is Toyota's 3.5-liter V6, and it has been in production since 2005 with continuous improvements. It powered the Camry, the Avalon, the Highlander, the Sienna, the RAV4 the Tacoma, and even the Lotus Emira, because Lotus chose this engine when they needed something they knew would last. The 2GR family had one early issue with a VVT-I oil line that was prone to leaking, but Toyota fixed it with a metal replacement years ago, and by now every example has either been updated or replaced. Beyond that, the 2GR is one of the smoothest, most reliable V6 engines ever made. It runs on a timing chain, breathes well, ages gracefully, and treats high mileage like a suggestion rather than a warning. A 2GR-powered Highlander, Sienna, or Tacoma with documented maintenance and clean oil history is the kind of vehicle that quietly hits 300,000 miles while everyone around it gives up. Now here is the part most buyers never hear. The difference between a great Toyota and a disappointing Toyota in 2026 is no longer about the badge. It is about the engine code. Two Camrys built in different years can have completely different futures. Two Tundras parked next to each other on a dealer lot can be separated by an entire engine recall. The buyers who get burned are the ones who trust the brand name to do the thinking for them. The buyers who win are the ones who walk onto the lot, pop the hood, and look at the engine code on the valve cover before they ever talk price. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. Avoid the V35A FTS until Toyota proves the fix is permanent. Avoid the 2AZFE in its problem years. Be cautious with the T24A FTS until it has more real-world miles behind it. And go out of your way to find a 22RE, a 1GR-FE, a 2UZ-FE, or a 2GR-FE or FKS. These engines reward patient owners with hundreds of thousands of miles of dependable service. They do not need babying. They do not need exotic maintenance. They need clean oil, fresh coolant, and an owner who pays attention. I have watched too many people drive home in shiny new Toyotas thinking the badge alone would protect them. It will not. The engine inside that badge is what determines whether you spend the next decade saving money or pouring it into repairs. So before you sign anything, before you finance anything, before you trust the salesperson telling you Toyotas are bulletproof, look at the engine, look at the year, look at the recalls. The right Toyota engine is still one of the best decisions you can make in 2026. The wrong one is one of the most expensive lessons in the entire automotive market. If this changed how you think about buying a Toyota, hit the like button so more buyers see it before they make a mistake. Subscribe if you want weekly breakdowns that protect your wallet instead of draining it. And drop a comment with the engine code in your current Toyota. I will tell you exactly where it sits on the list, because the most expensive car you can buy is not the most expensive one on the lot. It is the one you bought without knowing what was actually under the hood.